It's hard to find an actor that doesn't have at least one credit they aren't proud of. In the cutthroat land of Hollywood, it's not uncommon for big-name actors to be contractually obliged to star in movies they have no faith in, nor is it unheard of for actors to make major miscalculations in a film's chances of success. Usually, this isn't something that actors make public. After all, slamming a movie that they've appeared in is a good way to alienate not only your audience, but potentially Hollywood's casting agents and producers too. But every so often, a movie is so bad, or an actor is so upset, that they come along to break that golden rule. With that in mind, I'm Will for Whatculture, and here are 10 embarrassing movies actors don't want you to see. 10. Garfield, Bill Murray. Garfield's mostly live-action big-screen outing in 2004 hinged its moderate success on Bill Murray's attachment to the project as the titular Monday-hating feline. However, it's since come to light that Murray only ever agreed to voice the character after believing he'd be working for someone else. Joel Cohen, known for writing such cinematic outings as Cheaper by the Dozen and Daddy Day Camp, shares his name with one half of the famed Coen brothers, Joel Cohen. That coincidence turned out to be a sore subject when Murray discovered that the acclaimed writer-producer wasn't attached, and the movie was instead being written by an entirely different man with a remarkably similar name. Although undoubtedly a blunder from Murray, it is still a little hilarious when you think about it. 9. Alvin and the Chipmunks, David Cross. There was something of a riot among fans of comedian David Cross when he took a role in Alvin and the Chipmunks, one that he was contractually obliged to reprise for the movie's first 2 sequels as well. It wasn't until this contract expired that Cross spoke openly about his experience on the movies, stating that making the third in the series, subtitled Chipwrecked, was literally, without question, the most unpleasant experience of his professional life. Not content to cash his check and leave the project behind him, Cross explained that he had been forced at legal gunpoint and referred to the movie as a big commercial for Carnival Cruise Lines, as well as laying into unnamed members of the cast and crew. It was made clear that Cross did not enjoy his experience, to put it lightly. 8. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Sally Field. Sally Field is one of Hollywood's most beloved leading ladies of the past 40 years. Her role in The Amazing Spider-Man and its sequel, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, seemed like a perfect fit for her, playing Peter Parker's warm and supportive Aunt May, with the first of the Amazing Spider-Man films being the wall crawler's highest grossing release at the time. The movie's sequel, however, was another matter entirely. In the years since, it has come to light that Field only took the role as a favor to a producer friend in what she knew to be her last movie. Talking with Howard Stern, Field also described the superhero sequel in a particularly scathing, if not accurate tone, saying, "It's really hard to find a 3-dimensional character in it." Well said, Sally. 7. Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, Jessica Alba. Jessica Alba seemed to be a brilliant casting for Sue Storm in the Fantastic Four movies, and while she certainly looked the part, she has since voiced her disdain for the movies and the process behind them. While describing how her experience on the movie made her want to quit acting entirely, Alba shared an anecdote of director Tim Story telling her that her crying looked too real, and to not do that thing with her face. He allegedly told her they could just CGI the tears in. While Alba may not be the most acclaimed actor to date, the treatment she received on set should be enough to warn you off The Rise of the Silver Surfer, although the film's scathing reviews and poor reputation have probably done so already. 6. G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra, Channing Tatum. One of Tatum's earlier starring roles, especially in a big-budget action movie, was G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra, a film based on the line of Hasbro action figures that had also been given a comic book series. While basing live-action movies on real-life toys is divisive at best, G.I. Joe was a passable action movie, although by no means a great one. In an interview with Howard Stern, Tatum opened up about his role in G.I. Joe, saying that he effing hates that movie, and that he was pushed into doing it. According to Tatum, the script was no good, and he was hesitant to accept the role, although ultimately he had to, in order to fulfill a 3-picture deal with Paramount Pictures. 5. Twilight, Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson has not been shy in his bashing of the Twilight film saga, his starring role in which brought him to the attention of worldwide audiences. Patterson has said much about the film series in interviews in the years since its release, and surprisingly, none of it is as glowing as you might expect from an actor raised to superstardom by their starring role. He also said that Stephanie Meyer, the author of the original book, is completely mad, and that it felt like reading her sexual fantasy, and that she's in love with her own fictional creation. The best part about Patterson's feelings towards the saga is that the vast majority of us feel exactly the same way, making it incredibly difficult to dislike the actor for his particularly harsh criticisms. 4. Stop, or My Mom Will Shoot, Sylvester Stallone. Stop, or My Mom Will Shoot was Sylvester Stallone's 1992 foray into buddy cop comedy alongside Estelle Getty of Golden Girls fame. If you haven't heard of it, be grateful. It is frequently cited as one of the worst movies ever made, and even Stallone himself hasn't pulled any punches regarding the film. When asked about the movie, Stallone immediately identified it as his worst. It doesn't help that he was trolled into taking the part by Arnold Schwarzenegger. The governor feigned interest in the role after reading the movie's terrible script, prompting Stallone to quickly sign on to star. The Rocky star has since said of the film, "If you ever want someone to confess to murder, just make him or her sit right through that film. They will confess to anything after 15 minutes. 3. Daredevil, Ben Affleck. Daredevil is a beloved Marvel superhero, although his popularity certainly took a bashing after the release of the 2003 adaptation starring Ben Affleck as the Man Without Fear. From top to bottom, it was bad. It was almost cartoonish in its portrayal of its characters, but aesthetically it was dark and dreary, injected with so much false edge that the result made for uncomfortable and incoherent viewing. Affleck hasn't said an awful lot about the movie, although when asked in 2016 about his decision to take on the role of Batman in the DCEU, the star couldn't resist making a dig at Daredevil, saying, "I wanted for once to get one of these movies and do it right, to do a good version. I hate Daredevil so much." 2. Catwoman, Halle Berry. Another 2003 comic book movie that failed to impress literally anyone, Catwoman starred Halle Berry as the titular anti-hero. Dressed in all leather and armed with some truly terrible dialogue and cinematography, Catwoman has never been seen as anything other than a huge mess of poor decisions, and Halle Berry hasn't kept her opinions on the movie quiet either. She claims that the movie didn't feel quite right during filming and that she had reservations about the story, but went ahead with it anyway. However, Berry has since claimed she has no regrets about her role as Catwoman, saying that it made her a load of money and that she enjoyed the experience of learning 2 martial arts for the role, as well as being able to meet people she met while filming. 1. Super Mario Bros. Everybody. The worst thing I ever did? Super Mario Bros. It was an effing nightmare. These are the words of distinguished actor Bob Hoskins talking about his titular role in the ill-advised adaptation of the video games of the same name. The film was so bad that Dennis Hopper's 6-year-old son asked him why he'd taken a part in it, to which Hopper replied, "So you can have shoes," prompting the child to reply, "I don't need shoes that badly." The film was at least praised for its use of visual effects, which at the time were considered groundbreaking. However, that saving grace has not aged well either, meaning that today it is nothing more than a mess of awful dialogue and performances from great actors who are straight up phoning it in.